Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi everyone, how are you today? I hope you all are fine and healthy. In this meeting, we are going to learn about a new topic that I have already stated in our learning contract. And the topic that we are going to learn today is about SQRRR. So, basic reading will be a little more complicated than your previous reading subject, which is functional reading. However, with the help of SQRRR, hopefully you will be able to handle the reading well. So there are several points that we are going to discuss, as you can see here. The first is the definition of SQRRR, and then the second is the step in SQRRR. The third is function or the purposes of SQRRR steps. Now let's get started with the first point, the definition of SQRRR. Okay, let's move. What on earth is actually SQRRR? So SQRRR is actually a reading method, or we can also say a reading strategy. It is an active study reading strategy. So the more active you are, the faster you learn. It is a way to read academic materials such as textbooks, articles, research studies, or manuals that can increase your comprehension of what you are reading and improve your ability to recall it. So with SQRRR method or strategy, your active involvement in reading process is required. In fact, it is demanded. Reading textbook is such hard work, but SQRRR can make that work less difficult and perhaps even a little more interesting. So now let's move on to the steps in SQRRR. The title for this new higher level study skill is abbreviated to make it easier to remember and to make reference to it simpler. The acronym of SQRRR stands for the steps that the students following in using the method. So as you can see here, SQRRR stands for survey, question, read, recite, and review. So now let's go to the first step, survey. In real life, we sometimes also do a survey. For example, what planning do you do before going on vacation? Or what preparation must be done before building a house? Or probably what do you do to get ready for the first meeting at college? Yes, in life we prepare before we do something. It is also same in reading. You need to prepare to read. So then how to survey? The first is you need to read the titles and also subtitles. The second, read bold face print or italics, and then read questions at the end of the section or chapter. And then the next is look for keywords. And you need to skim through introduction and conclusions. And then the next is you need to look for margin notes. And the last, you need to study graphics, tables, and also charts. So actually, survey has some purposes. So survey can improve background, and then the better your background, the better your comprehension. Improves comprehension because you will remember more. And then the purpose of survey, the next is maps out the reading. In the end, to survey the chapter means to preview the chapter before you read it. And we need to survey because we need to get the big picture of the text, and then we need to decide what's important from the text. The next also, we need to know the main points of the text. We need to connect what we have already known to what we don't know about the text. And last, we need to do survey because we need to prepare to read. The next step is Q. So Q stands for question. And then how to questions. The first, turn chapter headings or subheading into questions to guide your reading. Ask what, who, X, Y, and how. For example, you see heading particles in a solid, and then you need to think what might be contained in this paragraph. And then after that, you need to make a question, how are particles in a solid arranged? And for questions here, there are several purposes of questions. For example, it gives reader a reason to read, and then it forces reader to pay attention, and it also gives a reader a shopping list of the text. It also makes us to stay focused, give purposes, and creates interest. The third step is read. So how to read? The first, never study read without a highlighter or pencil in your hand. Read to answer your guide questions for each section and subsection. Rereading is common. Read every word. And then you need to underline and or highlight. Remember, you need to be selective. Underline or highlight only the words and phrases you need. When you go back and reread your underlining or highlighting, the next should have meanings. And then you need to make notes in the margins, mark important text items such as dates, names, and also concepts and key points. Use circles, stars, arrows, and numbers. And then last, your goal is to read the chapter thoroughly only once because you still have to do the next steps. So actually, the purpose of reading in the previous chapter is to find the answer, the questions that we have already made before, and then it keeps the reader's mind focused on the text. And reading is just to gain information, to prepare for lecture, to prepare for discussion, and then for the test. For the next step, it is called recite. So to recite, there are several things you need to do. The first, to recite means to say something out loud. So after each section, stop and test your comprehension. And then recite the answer to your guide questions. Take note of your answer with your own words. And then the last is, if the question cannot be answered, you need to reread, think, and try again. And what are actually the purposes of reciting? As you can see here, it can improve concentration. And then recite helps you remember the materials. And then reciting transfers information from working memory to long-term memory. Think about reading for 5 to 7 seconds to transfer into the long-term memory. Without reciting, info will be discarded from working memory in 18 to 20 seconds. So when to recite? Immediately after reading each section. Now we come to the last stage of SQRRR, which is review. So how to review? The first, you need to return to first subtitle and recall questions. And then you need to recall the answers. And then the next, you need to summarize all questions and also your answers. And the last, you need to say it, write it, and draw it. And then we need to review because it locks information in long-term memory. And then the greatest amount of forgetting occurs right after learning. Review slows that process. And then the last, we need to do review because get to see all the important info one last time. Okay, so those all 5 steps of SQRRR, starting from survey, question, read, recite, and review. Hopefully these steps will accompany you well in this semester to be able to comprehend the text better and absolutely to improve your reading skills. Thank you for joining this class. See you in the next meeting and goodbye. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.